Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of The New World. And in today's video, we hoist and debate between who has been the best quarterback coming out of the NFC this year, with multiple candidates for that spot, with guys such as Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield, Jared Goff, and rookie phenom Jayden Daniels. But before we discuss, make sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't, as we are on the road to 10K subs. Turn on those notifications and stay tuned for more videos on the way. And comment who you feel is the best quarterback in the NFC this year. Now, Caleb, I'll go ahead and pass it off to you first. Who has been the best quarterback out of the NFC, and what is your reasoning?
Yeah, I think I'm going to shock people right here. I think Baker Mayfield's been arguably the best quarterback in the NFC. And I know that sounds crazy. Basically, looking off the standpoint that the 2018 NFL draft class, many people thought Lamar and Josh Allen just only good quarterbacks. But Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield have been balling this year. Both of those guys, unironically, they were in Carolina just a couple years ago, basically riding in hell. Now they're basically playing their best football. I think the advantage I think Baker has over those guys is he's giving out more production, which I value a lot. He's giving out more production. But when you look at these guys, like Jared Goff, Baker, Sam Darnold, and then you got JD. I think like these guys, they're playing almost to the caliber of AFC quarterbacks, but it's just a tier below. But they're still playing at a great level. Jared Goff, he's really dominated, especially with the offense that they have. They don't really ask for him to do too much. They kind of want to run. And, Ben Johnson, he basically OC of the year, kind of. Basically dials up these gorgeous plays that just gets his receivers open, like across the middle. Jared Goff is pretty much consistent. If he throws across the middle, basically off those play action like throws, he's very, very good at them. And they had a great year. The game they had, some people look at his stat lines and like they see the 5 interception game, which, that was kind of fluky. He had a lot of interceptions that were kind of fluky, but he did not play well. And they really didn't deserve to win that game. The defense really won him that game. So that's a big stinker on his resume this entire year. But, he had the 5 touchdown game against Buffalo, which was kind of inflated because Buffalo was playing soft coverage. So he was getting like a lot of throws over the middle, and the game was pretty much over. But, he's having a great year, really just throwing the ball. And his efficiency has been really, really great. And then you look at a guy like Sam Darnold, who many people don't realize is the Vikings have the same record as the Lions. The final game in the season is going to be for the 1st seed or the 5th seed. So whoever wins the division, they're going to have a 15-win team, and whoever loses the division is going to be a 14-win team, which is unprecedented. We've really never seen that, and it goes to show you like the quarterback play that both teams have had. Sam Darnold has had a resurgence to his career. He's been phenomenal. He's had a couple bad games, but just the consistency. Like when you look at his charts, like EPA, he's about like 8, 7, 6. He's about in that range where he's really good. He's consistent. Those guys playing really good football. Vikings, honestly, I think they might actually. I wouldn't be surprised if they beat the Lions up to the time of this recording, because they're just really flat out good team. And the rookie phenom and Jayden Daniels, he's had a really great start to his career. He won offensive player of the year, I think 6-7 times. He's been really, really great, really, really clutch. And I think that's what brings him up the highest, because he hasn't been given the production, but he's been so impactful to his team winning and close game. He has basically delivered. We saw the Eagles game that they won. And I know it was kind of to a drop pass by Devontae Smith, but the brother came up alive clutch. I know they played, Kenny Pickett too, but the brother came up clutch. Like I would say, he has that clutch gene. I'm kind of in fear of his running style, because his running style leaves him so vulnerable to big hits. It's very, very scary to me because the brother has a slight frame. I don't know if he's 200. They list him as over 200, a little over 200, but I don't really see that. Overall, I think Baker Mayfield has been the best, especially with the weapons he's had. He's kind of made these guys better. Bucky Irvin's been balling. And the injuries he's had to Chris Godwin, he's been getting it done with Mike Evans, tight end over there in Auden. And he's basically had to work with a lot. And he's had 42 touchdowns. Just 42 touchdowns on the season. The brother has been slinging the football, man. And I think for that reason alone, just sheer amount of production he's been giving me, he's been the best quarterback in the NFC. Overall, it's been really great quarterback play for this season. And that's just the NFC. We hadn't even made a discussion on the MVP voting and AFC quarterback, which them niggas been demons over there. So, yeah, I think that's my vote for who's been the best quarterback in the NFC.
Yeah, so the NFC quarterbacks, they've been balling. Sam Darnold, he made a resurge in his career out of Minnesota. Him and Kevin O'Connell and him and Jettas, they've been balling. They've been on the roll. They got the same record as the Detroit Lions. They've been balling. And, Jared Goff, the Lions, they've been on the roll for these past couple of seasons. That culture is great over there, but right now they're kind of struggling with that defense. So that is a factor. The Bucks, Baker Mayfield, that brother has been balling. His career, as soon as he came and found a home in Tampa Bay, he's been balling. 4,200 yards over the season. He's finna have over 40 touchdowns. Hey, he been doing his thing. And Jayden Daniels, I think this was a surprise to a good amount of people. He's been doing his thing. He's kind of brought Washington out of the dirt because he's been like one of the best named quarterbacks of Washington since RG3. So he's kind of put Washington back on the map, I guess you could say. And he's finally giving them playoff berth after who knows how long. But my pick for the best quarterback this season, I'm gonna rock with the rookie Jayden Daniels. Now, even though his stats aren't gaudy and they're not looking like Sam Darnold and Jared Goff or Mayfield's, he's been very impactful. If you go walk around and ask a bunch of people, let's be honest here, they're not gonna name a bunch of people on their roster besides Jayden Daniels and Terry McLaurin. Let's be serious here. And he's been clutch as a rookie. He's been clutch. And like Caleb said, he led that game-winning drive against the Eagles, even though they didn't have, Jalen Hurts as their quarterback. That's cool. Kenny Pickett is doing the same things that Jalen Hurts is doing. So that doesn't really matter. So he capitalized on a drop by Devontae Smith, and they won that game against the Eagles, whose defense has been very good over these latter weeks. So that's the thing. He's been winning games, and he hasn't been, big turnover machine or anything like that. So he hasn't been looking like a rookie. He's been looking kind of seasoned. I am interested to see how, he plays next season, coming off of this season. Hopefully it's not a CJ Stroud type of season. We will be making a video on CJ Stroud. Yeah, plus the props to having a defensive-minded head coach like Dan Quinn. That has helped because this defense, like I said, you can't name nobody on the defense. The defense isn't, the best. This defense is ranked. They're ranked ninth. But you really can't, like I said, you can't name nobody on the defense. So I think there's a good case for Jayden Daniels to be the best quarterback this season. Now, like Caleb said, Baker Mayfield, he has the stats, like I said, he's throwing for almost 40 touchdowns. But the only reason is why I don't really, rank Jared Goff or Sam Darnold is because even though they got all these great stats and stuff, their impact isn't, I don't think it's been more felt than, Jayden Daniels or a Baker Mayfield. And if you throw Jay Daniels or Baker Mayfield into the same spots as them, their stats could be way improved, if especially because they got the surrounding talent like that. Like Sam Darnold, he has Jordan Addison and Jettas. He's basically like Joe Burrow out there. And he's got Aaron Jones. And then, of course, we know, the talent that Jared Goff has got. My biggest case for this is because, like I said, the talent. Like Jayden Daniels, he's working with mainly just Terry McLaurin. And he's got an aging Zach Ertz, and Brian Robinson hasn't been having the best season. And Austin Eckler, we all know how Austin Eckler plays. So I don't think there's nothing wrong with, Jayden Daniels as being the best quarterback this season. I know it'll definitely be a surprise to a lot of people, but you can definitely throw, Baker Mayfield in that category as well. And I know a lot of people will definitely say Sam Darnold, but then again, you kind of look at his situation. He was thrown into a great situation. He's got a great head coach. He's got a great offense. So you got to take that into a somewhat consideration. But yeah, that's my pick. JD, Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, just a lot of things wrong with what you just said. You said there's nothing wrong with picking a rookie. Yeah, there is nothing wrong with picking a rookie if he was actually the best quarterback this year. But I just heard a lot of bullshit from the standpoint of, I just heard a lot of things that we can't really validate from a statistical standpoint, and taking a lot of credit away from guys when we claim that we're not trying to do so. Because you basically just kind of shit on guys like Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold, and Jared Goff by saying because they have talent that they haven't played better than Jayden Daniels. And I just don't think that that's really the case. Yes, Jayden Daniels has had an impactful season, but to give him essentially all of the credit, which is what you have done, is being a little bit disingenuous. And also by saying, oh, we can't name guys on the team other than Terry McLaurin. That's okay, but is that really being accurate and objective? We do know that the Commanders have a good team. This is very similar to the CJ Stroud comparison. And my problem with what Jalen is insinuating is we just decide to crown niggas way too damn early just because we like them. And because we see, I guess, some type of flair and pizzazz. And because Sam Darnold, Jared Goff, and Baker Mayfield are probably not the sexy pick, we don't want to face facts. And we have to, when we go back to Baker Mayfield, because my opinion, I agree with CJ. I think Baker Mayfield has been the best quarterback this year. Just look at it from a statistical standpoint. And yes, he does have talent, but those guys, he hasn't had what would be his best receiver in a Chris Godwin all season long. Hasn't had him all season long. Mike Evans has been hurt throughout the season. So yeah, we can probably name more names on that Tampa Bay Buccaneers roster because of their history. But Baker Mayfield, he hasn't had that talented of a team if we just evaluate the landscape of rosters across the NFC. So by being objective, Jayden Daniels is second off of that. But if we just look at, from a statistical standpoint, all of the quarterbacks, we look at Darnold, Baker, and Goff, they're top three in pretty much every single stat. Every single stat that you can name, from quarterback rating to passing yards to touchdowns. And like I said, Jayden Daniels he's in that top four. He's in that top four, but he's clear-cut 4 in every single one of those categories. And quarterback play, the quarterback of an NFL team, is arguably the most important position in sports. We know this for a fact. So when we take credit away from guys by saying, oh, they're surrounding all of this talent, like I told Jay off cam, so what do you have to say about guys like Joe Burrow or guys like Lamar Jackson that have a bunch of talent surrounding them? You can't take away from guys just because they have talent. What are you doing with that talent? Are you making that talent better? Now, Jayden Daniels, all of those guys you named, are we going to cap and act like they haven't contributed to this team's success? We can't give this man all the credit. We really can't do it. We got to give him a good portion of it because we were surprised. We were shocked. But as I said, the same situation with the Texans. We gave CJ Stroud all the credit because he was a rookie and he was drafted top 3. And because of that, we basically said, oh, the team ain't good. So he made the team great. But when we really look back and evaluate this roster and we look at the coaching and we look at the weapons, in year 2, we say that that's a talented roster. The same situation applies to the Washington Commanders. And I'm not trying to poo-poo on what Jayden Daniels has done, but to say that a rookie quarterback has played the best quarterback in the NFC, in this conference, when there's been some phenomenal damn quarterbacking this season, is very, very disingenuous if we really want to evaluate things that really matter, like stats, impact on winning, pedigree, all of these factors, instead of just saying that this guy is the best because of he's the sexier pick, the sexier option, because he has better highlights. I feel like that's really the underlying theme and the underlying tone behind this messaging. Like I said, not saying that the brother wasn't great. He was very, very efficient. But from a production standpoint, Darnold, Goff, and Baker were better.
I disagree with the whole CJ Stroud thing. Like, even though CJ Stroud had a great rookie season, nobody was saying he was better than Mahomes, Lamar, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow.
Pause. That's not the argument, because people were saying, and you were included in this, that we're putting them in that top 5 quarterback conversation before the season started. We know nobody was going to say that they were better than those 3 quarterbacks, because those 3 quarterbacks, they have a track record of being great. Can we say the same about Baker, Darnold, and Goff? No, we cannot. As I said, they're not the sexier names. Patrick Mahomes, he's been consistently the best. Josh and Lamar, they have the statistical to back it up as well as credentials. They have that. Those other 3 guys in the NFC do not have it. That's what I'm saying. You're comparing apples to oranges. It's not the same conversation. But after CJ Stroud had that rookie year, everybody wanted to give him the credit. And before this season, let me know if I'm wrong, were people saying that he should be favored to win MVP? Was he not in those type of talks?
He probably was.
No, he was. And people were putting him in top 5 quarterback talks. CJ Stroud even went on a podcast to say that he felt he was a top 3 quarterback last year. And people were like, okay, cool. Now, is that true or not? Not necessarily, not in my opinion, but you can make that argument. So that's what I'm saying. I'm saying based on how we look at these quarterbacks and we evaluate them, we crown them way too early. Like, think about what you're saying. You're saying that a rookie, and you can't back it by any stats, any metrics, except for, efficiency, which is cool. But efficiency also has to do a lot with your volume. But other than that, we got 3 quarterbacks that, from a statistical standpoint, from a winning impact standpoint, were better. So all you have to tell me is the fact that, oh, he's a rookie and, we can't name that many players on this team. What? Are we serious?
So you're telling me Jared Goff's impact is not like this dude threw 5 interceptions and they still won a game. Like you know how good your team is for that to happen.
That's one game, and look at the output, look at the production, and also that another thing. That's one name that you mentioned. What about Baker? What about Sam Darnold?
Yeah, I said Baker. I say you could say Baker can be number one. Like it's between him and Jayden Daniels.
You can say Baker can be number one, but he has 14 more passing touchdowns than the man. Like, are we really being serious? Like, my thing is evaluate your argument.
Well, here's the thing. The argument for Jayden Daniels is based on efficiency and how important he is to the success of his team. And I think what lies in that is if you look at the QBR, I think the QBR heavily favors him. I think if you look at his Pro Football Focus rating, his rating is really high. He's really fifth. And then if you just look at the EPA per play, which is how many points he is generating per play, he is fifth. So, and that's just behind just the AFC quarterbacks really. And I think Goff. So he's giving you a good share of production. I think the thing is his box score numbers don't look high because like he's doing most of it. Well, I wouldn't say he's doing most of it, but he's doing a good percentage of it running the football. So I think that's where the efficiency comes into play because their offense, the offense that they have is really just a dual threat offense. So if you just look at the rare box score numbers, you're not going to see it. But he's been great. I think he's been to the caliber of those guys. I wouldn't say it's crazy for Jay to say that he's been way better than. Well, I think it is crazy to say he's been way better than those guys.
I never said he's way better. I'm just saying I think he's been the best.
Well, I'm just saying I think it'd be crazy to say he's like he's been by far better than those guys. Yeah, I think those guys are kind of lumped on in the same league. But I would say he has been given a good share of production of to kind of back up the numbers. Now I wouldn't argue with him that, but many people have said he's literally top 5 in MVP vote. And if you just look off just the analytics, it's kind of backed up by it. But you just look at the stats, it's not really there. But if you look at the analytics, it's kind of backed up by the fact that he's been a really great quarterback this year.
Okay, so I'll say this, and I don't want to be long-winded. What you said, Buffy, is valid. My thing with that is that is not Jay's argument. Jay essentially laid 2 arguments down, which is he said impact on winning, and then he said because of talent, we can't name other guys on the roster. Those are your 2 arguments, and that's been consistently your arguments. You also alluded to that yesterday. CJ brought me those analytics, which are great, phenomenal. The efficiency is there. I agree with that. That's why he can be in the conversation. But for you to say he's the best based off of those arguments is unfair, because when we look at other players with other situations, that's why I asked you in the convo about Burrow. How do you feel about Burrow? How do you feel about guys that have a lot of talent surrounding them? Should they go down in MVP when we compare them to other guys because of talent, just pure talent? So that's what I'm saying. That's not a good enough argument for you to say that this guy has been the number 1 quarterback. If you gave me stats and metrics about efficiency, then I can get behind that and I can respect it and I can fall back. But just to say, because like I said, I feel like there's an underlying theme with what you're insinuating. I think it's the fact that we like Jayden Daniels because he's new. He's a sexy thing on the market. Same thing with CJ Stroud, because you were a big CJ Stroud advocate based off of his rookie year last year. So that's why I'm coming to the standpoint of, can we please stop crowning these guys so early? Because what's going to happen is that going into next season, and I'm just taking a wild guess, you're probably going to say no, but I would think that you're going to say that Jayden should be in the conversation for, potential MVP consideration.
I'm not saying Jayden Daniels should be in the conversation for MVP.
And that's why I said you would probably say no, but we know that you had that opinion with the CJ Stroud combo. So that's why I'm just being consistent with my arguments and what I'm displaying, because that is your track history.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, we shall see. Jayden Daniels, he's having a hell of a rookie year. So we shall see what he does next season. I stand by what I said.
Got to stand by what you say, because this is going on. This is going to the public. This is going on the internet where people can see and document what you stated. Because I wish that they could have gotten a glimpse of some of those conversations we've had off cam, where you made statements about certain quarterbacks and you've been proven incorrect about them and kind of have changed your tune. So yeah, we have this documented. So we will see what happens in the future. As I said before, I think that Jayden Daniels is talented. I think he's had a great rookie year, been the rookie of the year by far. But let's just kind of pump the brakes a tad bit when we talk about him being the best NFC quarterback. And like I said, he has a statistical argument to back it, but you got to be a little bit better than what you provided, my boy.
Hey, if y'all made it this far, y'all comment, let us know who y'all thought had the better take. Was it Buffy? Was it me? Was it Barto? Y'all let us know.